It's Friday, October 26th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we costume up for a Halloween skate at HYCC, get all the barking details on the new dog park opening, and we look at building maintenance in the Barnstable Public School District. Let's start with some news you can use. Opening a restaurant can be a complicated undertaking that includes various permits, licenses, and inspections. It can take multiple steps from soup to nuts before an owner chef can open the doors and welcome hungry diners. To help new or relocating restaurateurs navigate the ins and outs of required permits and inspections, the town of Barnstable has developed its own restaurant startup guide. Download the guide at www.businessbarnstable.com and tune in next week to Barnstable Today for more details on this great new business resource. Yippee yappee, bark for joy, Dogs of Barnstable. Your new dog park will officially open next week with a ribbon cutting ceremony on October 31st at 3 p.m. The newest dog park is located on Finney's Lane in the vicinity of Hathaway's Pond, and Nina Coleman has more.
So Nina, dog park is finally opening. We have the date for the ribbon cutting.
We do.
It's Wednesday, October 31st.
3 p.m. We're gonna cut the ribbon, get folks in here. Got a few more things to do on the punch list. Gates would be nice, but they're supposed to be in by the 31st.
Nice.
And so we want to get it open. We don't want to have it ready and not have it open. So we're just kind of pushing that date.
Yep.
The water is in. The bubblers aren't in, but there's water available for the dogs. And it should be good to go after that.
Yeah, so the town manager, you guys had the hearing yesterday about all the rules and regulations. Expect him to approve all those rules and regulations any day now, hopefully before the 31st when you guys have the ribbon cutting. So let's go over some of those because, we just want to make sure people are aware of some of the rules. The dog park will be open 7 days a week, 365 a year because, it's not manned. There's no one here that's working.
Right, that's correct. There are some days that we will have to close for maintenance.
Maintenance, okay.
And we don't intend to plow or shovel. And so that's up front, so that we're not going to have this be the the first thing that we address during a snowstorm.
Right.
Obviously.
This is low on the list, if at all.
Right. Exactly.
Which people need to understand. And dogs. I know most dogs I know don't even want to go outside in the snow. So.
Depends on the dog.
This is true.
Some of them love it, but
yeah.
It's Cape Cod. I'm from Vermont, so I don't think it's very snowy here, but it will preclude some dog park time of the year. But for the most part, 7 days a week, dawn to dusk. Obviously, we don't want people in here at night,
right?
And so it'll all be signed as such. Hopefully, all the signs will be up by the 31st as well, with all the regulations that you're speaking to.
Right, and there's no lighting here. So definitely another reason to stay away when it's not between sunrise and sunset. Those are, you don't want to be here when it's dark anyway. So
yeah, right.
Some of the other things that we want to talk about is the parking here is for the dog park only. This is not parking for Hathaway's Pond. This is not parking here, walking down to the village or walking up to Hyannis. This is dog park parking only.
That's right, and you can see the importance of that. Certainly, it's going to be more of a conflict in the summer. We certainly don't want people, parking here and not having to pay as a way to get away from paying the price of the pond. But also, more to the point, we want to make sure that we have parking available for dog park patrons. So that's really the intent there, is not to just hammer on people, but to make sure that somebody who's coming legitimately using the park, there's only 12 spots. We want to make sure they can pull in with ease. One
of the great things I noticed that there are some handicap spots. There's a van accessible spot, and there's a regular handicap spot. So we want to make sure people don't use those spots and use them properly. I know there's a lot of people out there that thinks that handicap spots are kind of a free-for-all, but they're not. They're for handicapped people only, and as such should be used that way. We also want to talk about there's no other animals that are allowed in here, which I think at first I was like, well, duh. But then you think about, a lot of people have different pets and things that they might be like, oh, I'd love to take my ferret down to the
So I had not known that was an issue, and as I've been wading into this topic and speaking to other towns and other friends groups, it is an issue. I also manage Sandy Neck, and so we have a resident pig that comes to Sandy Neck. There isn't anything that says it can't. Certainly parrots would be another issue. People bring their cats.
Yeah.
So
some people do put their cats on leashes.
we're
not
just
the place for the cat on the leash.
This is not a good spot for that. We're just trying to clarify, you know, the boundaries here.
Right.
Yep.
You also want to make sure your dog is leashed upon entering the park and exiting the park. There is kind of like a gated area where you it's kind of like a, for lack of a better explanation, kind of like going in the Panama Canal, like a lock.
A double gate.
A double gate. You go into one section, shut the gate behind you, and then go into the next section. You want to make sure your dog is leashed while you're entering and exiting. That way they don't run away. This is a busy road behind us, so you know you don't want your dog getting loose and running away. So it's important to remember to do that. And it also, there's different collars that aren't allowed in the park.
Right. So for safety's sake for the dog and for other dogs, we don't want any pinch collars, any spiked collars. They do need to have a collar on with their tags. And that also, you know, so that we know that they have their identification and their information about vaccinations on there, but also so that if somebody needs to reach in and get their dog, there is a collar on them. But certainly there's a lot of rough play that happens in here, and any sort of spike collar, pinch collar could get hooked on something, and we don't want that to happen.
No, that's not a good thing. All dogs that are in here do need to be vaccinated.
Absolutely.
And no puppies under 3 months, because they usually by that point they haven't had their vaccinations yet.
Right.
So it's important things to remember. And the rules are here to make sure everyone is safe and everyone's happy. All the dogs are happy, the owners are happy. So it sounds like a lot, but it's any dog park you go to, you're going to run into this very similar regulations.
Almost exactly. Same, you know, we obviously looked at other parks, spoke to other groups, because they've had the chance to flesh out the issues. So this is a good starting point. I think we really vetted these, that sounds funny, but we really went through the whole process of hearing everybody's take on these regulations. So I think it's a good start. Obviously, there's going to be growing pains, and we recognize that, and we'll adjust as we need to. There are 3 areas in this park. The training area does have some additional leniency with regard to those pinch collars and so forth, so people can do training in there, have dog treats in there. The main area that we're in, which is huge, is sort of a free-for-all for dog size, little guys, big guys, whatever.
But know your dog.
Know your dog. You can obviously know aggressive dogs. And so this is the area of like the big play area, but people do have to have the appropriate dog in here.
Right, and then there's a small dog area.
There's a small dog area. And so that's a small area, but some of those small dogs are intimidated by the big guys. Not all of them. I've seen some small dogs that are the ruler of the roost. But we have all these options here for all the different user groups.
I think that the park came out amazing.
I do too.
Big thanks to the Stanton Foundation for helping to make this happen, because without them, wouldn't have been possible, and the Friends of Barnstable Dog Parks. So we just want to remind everyone again, the big grand opening, ribbon cutting, to do October 31st, 3 p.m. Costumes welcome.
Costumes are welcome. Dog treats available. It is by intent a very quick celebration. We want to get this thing open. I know that the Friends group is likely going to do some additional celebratory events in the future, but this is really just an opportunity to get that ribbon cut, acknowledge everybody, and just get it going.
Yeah.
So
I know so many people are excited. I wish I had a dog so I could bring down here. I'm going to have to steal my brother's dog and bring him down here and have some fun.
Yeah.
Nina, thanks for meeting us out here.
Thank you, Sarah.
The Halloween Carnival Skate is tonight, a perfect event to kick off the spooky season.
Laura, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk about a really fun event that's taking place tonight right here at the HYCC. It's the Halloween Carnival and Skate.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Very lucky. Cape Cod Skating Club helps us out with this. Huge, huge, huge props to them, because we have no budget. So it's really nice. They come in and their parents are awesome. They've made games and they take over the Shepley room. They set it all up. We have face painters. They get all the fun stuff, like guess the candy corn in the jar, which, you know, I would like to win every year and I don't. It's okay. But yeah, they're pretty awesome. They come in, they just set it all up. They bring their kids. Everybody comes and volunteers. So it's a nice community thing. And it's good for me because all my kids from skating, they volunteer. So
awesome.
It's huge. It's such a nice event. George is awesome. He gets me lights for the event. So we have basically a little public skate time in the dark with some fun lights, and then my staff will handle ghost bowling. So
Fun.
yes, so that's always fun.
So this is a family event.
It's
This
definitely
is
a
not
family.
Like, it's not like Rock Night where it's, you
No.
know, just geared towards like the middle school kids. This is for the
No.
family to come.
Yes, absolutely.
It's $20 for family.
Yep.
And that's the max you'll pay.
So that's the max,
you've
exactly.
got-
So if you have 10 of you, it's $20. That's
Nice.
it. And really, you don't have to skate. They are.
There's so many activities.
Yeah,
besides
they just
skating.
made it really
That's
cool.
just one part of it.
It's just one part. The skating part, you can dump them and then do something else. So there's always something for someone to do, and it's cool.
That's awesome.
So,
And
yeah.
if people don't have their own skates,
I
we can talk about this beautiful
know.
wall
I
of
know.
brand new skates behind us.
So lucky, very blessed that we come from a community that will reach in their pockets, is basically how I see it. And this is what we've ended up with. We have basically replaced every single original skate that we had.
Wow.
So on the top shelves, you can see there's just a little mixture of
Some of
throughout
old
the
ones.
years, yeah. But we were able to replace every single original rental skate.
That's amazing. And original from when you opened here, right?
Yes. So,
Those have
yeah.
been around for a while, and now, you know,
Yeah.
skates need to be replaced. They get used on a fairly
crazy.
regular basis, so
Yeah.
it's not. And replacing that many skates is not a cheap thing to do.
And honestly, we were really lucky because we were taking some of the hockey skates, we were taking to the shoe cobbler in Centerville and asking if he could stitch them back up and just bring them back to life. But we're really lucky, and it's been good. We've gotten a lot of great feedback as far as comfort, because they don't look the same. They're definitely not all leather, and they definitely have a sneaker-like insert, so it's good.
They're a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, a
What's
little
the
bit more.
cost for renting skates?
So rental skates are $5. Doesn't matter your age. It's just $5 across the board. And we were lucky enough to actually add some sizes. So we
Nice.
have some really littler sizes that we didn't have before. I mean, the smallest I believe was a 10 that we offered for kids.
Wow.
So now we pretty much added a couple pairs of 9s and a couple pair of littler 10 hockey skates. So
Awesome.
yeah, it was good.
So
It's really
anybody
good.
can come and
Anybody
figure
can come.
skate or hockey,
Yes.
you know, be out on the ice. It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter.
Doesn't matter.
So speaking of, I know that there's skating going on right now. There's learn to skate and there's learn to play
Yes.
hockey.
Yes.
But I know that winter registration is just around the corner. It's
Absolutely.
November 6th. So it's going to
Crazy.
be here before you know it. And
Crazy.
that'll be for the next skating session.
Yes, and winter session for us gets really busy. Fall soccer's done, everything that's outside is done except for basketball. So we pick up pretty heavily for the winter session. I try not to ever turn anybody away, so even if you do get on the wait list, I try to take you no matter what. So
Find a space.
yeah, where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm really blessed to have great instructors that are willing to, you know, do whatever it takes to get everybody off the waiting list.
That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the classes, because I know there's a TOTS class, which is
Yes.
for the little. Is
Yep.
that like 2 to 4?
It's actually 3 to 4.
3 to
We
4.
do have some parents that bring their kids during the week to public skate, and they are as young as 2.5, and they're moving. So I always say, just come and talk to me, and as long as they can, you know, kind of stand on their own and move a little bit. It is 30 minutes unassisted by parent, but there's plenty of assistance, plenty of instructors out there. So always take a video from the first day to the last day, because you won't recognize your kid.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
So we have the TOTS, and then there's badges, and then
we have
wh-
specialty classes.
Specialty classes.
So we have specialty classes for all the girls that basically pass out of the
And
basics.
boys.
And boys, yes, and boys that pass out of the basics. We have regular freestyle classes, which is just, you know, learning more jumps and spins, and we have a moves in the field power class, which starts to give them a little bit of an idea of testing and United States figure skating. So it's a little more complex, where there are patterns, and it's 4 different items, 4 to 5 different items and elements that you do. So we're kind of introducing everybody to that. And then there's just a little good power escape, put a good little bunch of music and let them, you know, move a little bit, sweat a little bit, if you will. And then we're offering a jump and spin class,
Oh, wow.
which just basically, that's it. That's all you're doing. Learn to Skate went through a huge rebrand 2 years ago, and so they've added things. Now they just have an axle class, and that's it. So it gives kids more time to break it down and understand it. So the jump and spin class has been really huge for that.
Awesome.
And then on Thursdays, we have our fun little create to skate. Anybody's, basically open to be in that. And that's really just to be expressive in your own way and have a good time.
Yeah, they did a really interesting song at the spring skating show. They did a whole thing with paint, and it was really cool.
It was very cool. So they are going to probably open our holiday show this year. So I can't wait to see that, because that class has just become bigger than itself, I guess. And the creativity that comes out of it, there's a lot of give and take from everybody. So the level isn't the same. Everybody's level is so different, but they all pull it off, and it's a pretty cool little class.
That's awesome.
And then we're going to offer morning classes too for those kids that want to come and skate at 6:30 in the morning and then zip off to class. We'll have an intro to synchro, which just gives you a little idea of what synchro is. We're lucky enough this year, the building is hosting the Cape Cod Synchro Classic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Born Skating Club has been hosting that competition for as long as I can remember, but they've outgrown Gallo, so they're here. So it's kind of cool. So you get to see all the different levels that weekend in December, the second weekend of December, I believe. And then we'll have one more class on Tuesday mornings. It's going to be Growth in Motion. I liken it to maybe Zumba on ice, but we'll see how that works out. But again, it's open to the kids if they want to come in at 6:30 and zoom out for school. So yeah.
And how about theater on ice?
Theater on ice. Deb does a little intro to theater on Saturdays as well. It's 30 minutes, and it gives the kids a little idea of what theater's about. So it's fun. I mean, you go to see Broadway shows or just high school plays, and it's just a different avenue for them to express that. So
I remember when I first got introduced to theater on ice a few years ago when the Nationals were here, and I just remember being blown away because it's seeing a full production of a song
in
on
like
the
5
ice.
minutes max. Yeah,
and it's
crazy.
just absolutely amazing. So it's so great that you guys have that program here.
We're lucky. I'm so lucky that I have instructors that have taken the time to educate themselves and to want to grow programs, especially grassroots ones, because you got to start somewhere. And so I'm really lucky. I have a lot of kids that stay, a lot of kids that do other programs and other sports, but they still come back and skate, which really, really lucky to have.
Amazing. So let's remind everybody one more time before we go that the Halloween Carnival and Skate is today.
Yes,
it's tonight.
Tonight.
It is
starts at 4:30.
So that's 4:30 to 7. Skating is 5 to 6:20.
Yep.
There'll be activities here in the rink. There'll be activities up in the Shepley room. So
everywhere. You'll find something everywhere within the building.
That's awesome.
And you'll see someone in a costume.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Come in costume.
Come in
It's
costume.
Halloween.
It's
Yeah.
Halloween.
There'll be
Absolutely.
a costume contest.
There'll be a costume contest. So yes.
Awesome.
All
Great.
right.
Laura, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yep.
Maintaining aging infrastructure is a challenge that David Kadniak is aptly suited for. His easy demeanor and can-do attitude is a great asset to the Barnstable School District. Channel 18 caught up with him at one of the completed projects, a new school facade at the Barnstable Community Horace Mann Charter Public School, or for you old schoolers, High East. An old school with a new look. I'm here with Dave Kadniak, Facilities Director for the Barnstable School System. Dave, it looks beautiful.
How about it? Doesn't it turn out nice? The school looks really great. We're very pleased with the result.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit. This school's old.
This school was built in 1950, so it's old.
Right.
It was in need of a restoration, particularly on the exterior. All of the trim needed to be replaced. It was rotted beyond repair. The roof was the second shingled roof that was replaced. The shingles were already almost 30 years old on the second set. So new roof, new flat roof. We rebuilt the cupola entirely, new front entrance. Everything is engineered material, AZAC. And we'll be good to go for another 40 or 50 years with the exterior.
So tell me the challenges of being a facilities director for some of these old buildings.
It's a challenge, and sometimes you don't know where to start, how to prioritize the work. Fortunately, there had been some work done on this building 6 years ago. The heating system's been upgraded, so that's in good shape. And the interior of the building, all in all, is in decent shape. We plan to move ahead and do work there in the future, but there'll be smaller projects, painting, flooring, what have you, and and get the interior cleaned up a little bit as well. But right now, we're very happy. The building's dry, it's weatherproof. There are no hazardous materials anywhere in the building to speak of. So, I think we've made a lot of progress with this project.
Right. And tell us a little bit about the cupola. You had some furry feathered friends living there, I understand.
We did. We had some pigeons in there, and they had taken up residence in there. They've been there for quite a while, so they felt they had squatter rights. It took a little bit to get them out and clean it up, but we've remedied that. We've got screening in there now. They're not able to gain access, and they will stay out of the space now. So they need to go find somewhere else to take up residence.
Right. So this whole project took a little over the year. What was the impact on the school during that?
It was difficult at times for the schools. There were some issues with noise. We had some dust issues, and like any construction project, especially when you've got areas of the roof open up, and we had some water leaks during storms, just unanticipated storms, and as hard as you try to seal things up, sometimes you get the occasional leak. So the staff was very, very good. They worked with us. We tried to keep everybody up to speed with what was going on and in the loop, so that they knew what was going on daily. And all in all, I think it was a successful project, and I think again the end result shows that.
Right. And you didn't have to close the school at all.
No. We managed to have school through the entire process. So it was took a little bit of management.
A little bit of management. Well, a great job. It looks fantastic. So we're going to walk through a little bit of what you've done and some of the projects here. But specifically to me, when you reappoint brick, what does that mean?
When you repoint brick, is you take out the mortar joints and put in new mortar. Clean them up. If there's a cracked piece of masonry or cracked brick, replace it. We did that around the backside. We had some brick that needed to be replaced, so fortunately we were able to match it.
Okay.
We got an exact match with the materials and with the mortar, and it looks good. It looks good. So we were able to remedy all that. Fortunately, we didn't have any structural issues. It was all just really aesthetic and facial stuff. So we were lucky there.
So when you do these projects, Dave, in these old buildings, there comes to be an accessibility question, is how can you make the school more accessible in some of these? And you've done some really neat things with the back entrance here to make the school accessible.
Yes, yeah, we needed to have an fully accessible entrance, so we decided rather than interfere with the architecture of the front of the building and interfere with that nice entryway we just showed you, we'd have to do some real modification there. It would take away that character of the building. We were able to utilize the back entrance here for accessibility. So what we've done is we've put in a new ramp, which is accessible and at the proper grade. We're also put in a accessible entrance here with a push button with a latch, which can be seen at the front desk. The door can be activated here. It'll be totally accessible at the right height, and then the building door will have the same feature, and then there's accessibility there. It's totally accessible that way, and we'll also have accessible bathrooms, water fountains, and all of the accessible modifications in the building to meet today's standards. So we'll be
right. And you talk about accessibility, but there's also security built into this as well. There is cameras at that entrance.
Correct. There's a camera at this entrance and also the other entrance. So we'll have double coverage.
Excellent. Great job, Dave.
Thanks.
Let's take a look at the spooky community calendar. Smoke on the Water, Hauntings and Mysteries of the High Seas and Waterways, hosted by local paranormal expert and founder of CAIPRS.com, Derek Bartlett. This lecture will take you from your seat and sweep you onto the high seas and local waterways. You will hear the chilling mysteries and hauntings from around the world that have plagued travelers for centuries. Ghost ships and mysterious disappearances, the infamous Bermuda Triangle, tales of Mary Celeste, and many, many more. They'll conclude with a lecture close to home with the hauntings and mysteries surrounding our little paradise called Cape Cod. Tickets required, seating is limited. More info and tickets, www.caipcod.com. CapeCodMaritimeMuseum.org. Here is a look at upcoming boards, commissions, and committee meetings. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. Email us or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.